Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the finals of the North American Summer Circuit. We're in week 7, and we've got the same matchup we've had most of the weeks here. Eager versus MatchPoint. Now, MatchPoint, they've had a bit of a struggle getting here, but who cares how hard the climb was as long as you reach the top? Well, Eager want to get to the top themselves, so it still won't be easy. Now, we're seeing a lot of interesting comps, and we'll have my co-commentator break that down for us. TJ will be joining me today in the final set. Let's break down the teams and who they are first. Eager's bringing down Z1 Unknown and the Victor. Wi-Fi will be on the Makoa. JAKEB on the Grok. Kami on the Eevee. And Bitey on the Ying. And TJ, who is MatchPoint bringing in?
Well, stolzey's going to be going ahead picking up that beautiful Eevee pick. Kusqt on Makoa. Smidgen on Fernando. doesupz on Ruckus. And SuHKyle picking up Grok.
Now, for me, I'm extremely excited to see how this Ying works out. TJ, we were talking about this. You were saying Bitey has a little bit of a theory as to why he thinks Ying is good right now. Let's talk about it, as he gets pretty much help on the first kill, although doesupz does respond, and stolzey does as well on Z1 Unknown and Wi-Fi, while Smidgen is still alive. Let's talk about this Ying pick, who just went down. Why is he picking this up?
Well, kind of exactly what you just saw him try to do. He's trying to get in right there in the middle of a fight, get behind the action, and force those shield-carrying players to turn around to face him. He believes that Ying is the Swiss Army tool of Paladins right now, and he might not be wrong, but so far it's not working out for him.
Exactly. Might not be wrong, but is he right? That's the question. And you see Z1 Unknown there fragging away with the Grenadier build. 2 grenades in quick succession, but it doesn't matter. MatchPoint take the 1-0 advantage. Getting Bitey out of the fight was good, but however, I did see, him have a bit of an effect. I definitely want to keep eyes on him during this match. He's going to be running the card that allows him to slow targets, and now Smidgen, having survived that entire time, finally takes his first step at the hands of Bitey, but SuHKyle gets the kill onto the Ying as well. I mean, now, we've seen Grok get picked up here instead of the Victor. Do you like this change for SuHKyle, TJ?
I think Grok is a very key player for teams right now. His healing potential is kind of more than any other character currently being played, so you need that healing on your team. And Victor is a very cool DPS champion, but there are so many other DPS champions, such as Bitey, going ahead running, once again, this Ying pick.
And let's look at what Ying is building. We talked about this earlier on, but if you weren't with us in the earlier games, you don't necessarily know the build. He's running Disappear 4, which is a shot, which is a card that, I believe it might have been reworked here in this last patch. Hitting all 5 shots from Illusory Mirror slows enemies by 40% for 1.5 seconds. That is a huge slow in an FPS, and it allows his illusions, who already are moving 60% faster during Shatter, to really catch up to their targets. But not only that, it's about the fact that I believe he's able to then nail his shots even more efficiently after he hits all 5 and gets the bonus damage.
Yeah, and that really allows him to just take these lower HP targets and just pin them down. But doesupz, meanwhile, he's popping an ultimate. He was huge there. He ran around behind the entirety of Eager and then popped his ultimate. Did so much damage, got a kill, and more importantly, cleared the way.
And now it looks like Ruckus in his face there, taking down Wi-Fi, who popped the Ancient Rage. Almost a bit of a waste, just extending his survival, but, wasting a very key kind of turnaround potential play there. And you know what I love to see here? Kusqt. He drops the Cassie. He drops any other characters he might be playing. No Aatroxus, no Kinessa today. It's the Makoa. He's going in, and he's 1-3, but he's still alive, and he's making a big impact on this push.
And speaking of big impacts, let's talk about Smidgen just very briefly. There was a Tempest ultimate, there were 2 ultimates, so he went ahead, he tried to drop the Immortal so that nobody could focus him, and I liked the idea there, but everyone had already split up, so he really just wasted its ultimate. And everybody had split up, they'd run already out of the range of his Immortal, and he wasted an ultimate, and more importantly, that'll be the push completely successfully defended. Eager 1-1.
Now let's talk about Smidgen's ultimate here. Grabbing the Fernando, obviously he's got a lot of point pressure and the ability to last. He's, the last man standing. He's got the last stand card as well, giving him an increased ability to survive even at low health and rebuild it back. The fact that Eager don't have a Fernando, do you think this leads the team fight onto the way of MatchPoint in terms of giving them an advantage?
No, not really, because Fernando right now, at the highest level of play, he can be countered in so many ways. There are so many attacks that can pull him out of his shield, like Bitey picking up the Ying, like Z1 Unknown on the Victor. He can throw grenades behind Nando, and it's a really cool idea to have a Fernando in the front lines doing the shielding damage like he's doing right now, but you can see he's just been pulled in, he's been forced out of position, there's players behind him on all sides, he was able to fall back quite successfully there, and that will be, like you said, maybe I'm wrong, that's full point control for MatchPoint.
And now stolzey in the back line as well. It's very, very strong. A Grog Tempest is coming out, however, it's going to clean him up. Z1 Unknown takes down stolzey, and now the Grog Tempest coming out from, it looks like JAKEB has done its work. Actually, no, that was not the Grog, that was SuHKyle's Grog ultimate there that is now going to be used, and he's back to base. Does not get enough for that money, and now it looks like Eager have full control of this point and this fight. They have basically decided all members of MatchPoint. This is going to be an uphill battle.
So what they did there, which was kind of exactly what I just said they had to do, was they grabbed the shield members and they focused them down. Before they took any fights, they pulled out Fernando, they pulled out Makoa, and Bitey got Makoa, and Nando was at such low HP that he couldn't take fights. He had to pull back, he had to worry about his survival, and then he was eventually barraged down to almost no HP. But here is the retake coming right in. At MatchPoint, they're already melting Wi-Fi.
He's going down right now, and SuHKyle and all of the squad are back in the point. They've retaken this very successfully. One of the things I've noticed, TJ, and I don't know if you have watching MatchPoint, is a lot of teams, they lose that initial capture point, and it is so hard to get it back. They are having they have a lot of trouble, but it almost feels like MatchPoint get this respect. People back off the point a lot easier for MatchPoint, it seems, and just give it to them and say, we don't want to die here in this initial burst. But I just wonder if it's the right play. It seems like they're able to retake things so efficiently, more so than any other team.
Yeah, I think that does come down to the coordination they display, as that was an incredibly close play by, I believe that was Kusqt on the point, racing on out. Wi-Fi with zone ultimates, so many ultimates on the point, but doesupz and stolzey come out on top. And they will be taking that overtime over at MatchPoint. Will have the point capture, and like you say, they are so good at getting back to that point because they have the coordination, they know where all the players are at any given time, and they're able to regroup and get on the point without so much time dedicated to working out how they're going to do it. They just do it.
It's instinctual at this point. I mean, they play together for a long time. They have the benefit of that. Playing together probably for, well, with the addition of Kusqt, probably lowers that. But the original boys of MatchPoint, before Kusqt joined from SoAR after DreamHack, probably playing together more so than any other squad here in the current summer circuit, save from, you know, anybody on Europe. So it's just been a very, very clear, convincing performance. And now Kami comes in with a really nice play. I love this. Going into the ultimate, ice blocking so that everyone who turns to focus her is just not able to do a thing, and then allowing the blink to get back off of cooldown and put her in a safe distance away. Kami doing a great job to take down two, and now they've lost the Makoa, they've lost the Ruckus, they've lost the Grok. This is going to be a little bit of a tough one again. Let's see how well MatchPoint can come back in and get themselves pushing this payload.
And you were talking about teamwork right there. Kami went in, he drops that Ice Storm, and then he Ice blocked, and then his teammate Z1 No just rained in so much damage so quickly to capitalize on the players who are now slowed and stuck in one connected area. Here's a nice Immortal, though. That's allowing the entirety of Eager to push forward.
And it's very, like you mentioned, that Grenadier build is going to allow him to take advantage of those clumped up opponents so well, not only because he's getting the damage from the grenade and he's able to follow up with his aim down sights, but he's also getting the damage consistently again because he's proccing the card, which is Grenadier. Now, what that card will do is it will allow him to hit a player, and if he hits one player, it will reduce the cooldown of his grenade by 4 seconds. If he hits 2, 8 seconds. If he hits 3, well, GG, he's just going to keep throwing grenades, and that's what that EV ultimate allows him to do. stolzey now focusing Z1 Unknown, blinking up into the air. I love this play, but Z1 Unknown is ready and prepared, and he takes down stolzey in return, and SuHKyle goes down as well by the hands of Z1, and that is just a fantastic hold by the boys of Eager.
And I just want to give a huge shout out to SuHKyle right there. He was being chased by Kami, he was being shot at by 3 players, and he was just somehow dancing around, staying alive for so long. And it bought more time for his team to go and respawn, get right back in the action, and less time for Eager to reset and deal with this take. Here we go, the last-ditch take coming in. Z1 with the ultimate right onto the point.
But that gives him a very, very bad opportunity here in terms of fighting back against the stolzey who's approaching, and he does go down. And now it looks like on the end, Kusqt is able to support his team with the pressure from the hook. Even though he doesn't get it, it allows stolzey to get the double kill. And now stolzey again with the preemptive ultimate. I love the way he did it. He placed it where they would spawn. So if they run into the spawn, they get immediately hooked and crippled, and that is it. That is 3-1 for MatchPoint. They get the successful push. that was a bit surprising. I love that play at the end by stolzey, just preempting them coming out of spawn and using the Ice Storm to keep them there with the cripple.
And the Blizzard can do so much work just in terms of zoning. I remember one of my favorite plays I've ever seen in Paladins, back when you had the spawn gates. What some players would do is they would throw them towards the spawn gates as the payload neared completion, so you couldn't use your dash moves to get in, tag the EU Conga, as I believe the correct terminology is, and keep that overtime rolling. Right. And I just love that kind of preemptive play, using the Blizzard not so much as a weapon, but more as a net, more as a trap for your teammates to come in and rain in AoE attacks and do damage.
Absolutely. I mean, and who are you? I mean, you're looking at a champion here, you know, you're watching them. Who's standing out for you in this match in terms of, you know, obviously MatchPoint has the advantage. Is it somebody on MatchPoint that's just performing well? They seem to have their rhythm now. Or do you think Ear in some place, in some champion, whether it's a tank, whether it's a damage dealer in the backline, needs to pick things up?
Well, I think you have to shout out stolzey. He is being the spearhead, he is being the front line, but the Immortal, so many ultimates on the point. The Immortal is counteracting all of them. I think that was JAKEB. He ran all the way out on the point. He drops a Tempest, and the Immortal just saved every single member of MatchPoint on that point.
What a huge thing. We were talking about the difference that might make, TJ. It looks like it's made a huge one here. MatchPoint almost at the victory. Eager's trying to get themselves back in. Will they concede it? And they do. There's no way. And look at this stance. It looks like that's a photo finish right there. A picture says 1,000 words, and the Hexafire coming out just to hype style on them, man, and say, you know what? We go ahead and get this game. We're back. MatchPoint is here, and we're here to claim the victory. Now, I think anticipate. I'm gonna rephrase this. I am seeing how much of an impact what I mentioned the Immortal had on that last team fight with the Fernando. Seeing how that played out, do you anticipate an adjustment? Bringing a Fernando in on the side of Eager, do you anticipate Bitey sticking with the Ying? That's my question. Ying or no Ying?
I mean, the Ying did work. You look at the endgame scoreline, 26 eliminations, 9 deaths. Sure, that's not the best scoreline, but especially on the losing team, I think Bitey's going to stick with it. I think where we need to look more are Kami didn't do so well on a champion that's being picked quite a lot right now for DPS damage. And Wi-Fi, he's not achieving what he needs to achieve on Makoa. He's not being the frontline shielding presence. Maybe he goes ahead, throws in for another frontline shielding presence. Or maybe they just go ahead and they change up their whole lineup, try and build something more specifically to counter the high HP pool lineup we're seeing over on MatchPoint.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. We'll have to tune in next game. I don't know where you can find that. Oh, wait, you can find that right here. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 coming up in just a bit. Eager versus MatchPoint. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the realm. We've got Game 2, Eager versus MatchPoint, coming up right now. My name is Rayday, and of course, joining me is TJ, and we're going to be taking you through the action here. Let's take a look at what Eager have brought to the table. JAKEB, still on the Grok, Z1 Unknown on the Victor, Wi-Fi on Makoa, picking up the veteran burn card, allowing him to heal back percentage of his health. Kami on the Eevee, and Bitey is still on the Ying. So it looks like no changes there. But however, TJ, on MatchPoint, they've done a little bit something different.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting. If I just looked at it, I'd say they expected Eager to go ahead and pick up a tank build. They've gone with a Cassie, a Fernando, a Eevee, a Victor, and a Bomb King. This is very good if you're trying to counter a tank build. If you're trying to counter a lot of high HP, slow-moving champions, this is what you pick up. They might, however, run into some issues because they haven't changed a thing over on Eager.
Yeah, they haven't changed a thing at all, so they're going to be very used to this combo. Now, a couple of people are going to be changing their style of play here, but of course, they've got a lot of ability to do so. And Bitey and Kami, however, get the first bloods on the Bomb King and Victor. That's a ton of DPS and point pressure on the side of MatchPoint that is going to be out and back to base. stolzey is alive, however, staying alive, doing a great job of kiting Z1 Unknown, trying to hit a shot in the air, but it doesn't work out. And now TJ, looks like Eager and Wi-Fi here, and Victor, however, getting caught down. Is Victor going to get taken down by stolzey? No, he can't catch him. Now the pressure's back, and doesupz in, but I was going to say, TJ, it seems like Eager is taking the lead there, but now stolzey is just running rampant, finally taking down that Victor who's been so elusive.
Yeah, and what they did there, which is absolutely the correct call when facing this kind of lineup, is they focused the champions they could remove very, very quickly. They got those low HP champions right on out to the fight, and then all they had left was Makoa, who they could deal with in their own sweet time because of how slow moving he is. He isn't much of a threat if you just focus out all his teammates.
Yeah, and you know
match point.
Exactly, and I'm looking at SuHKyle's action here. I'm watching him throw grenades from a distance. I'm watching him just take this kind of behind the area here on this left-hand side of Glacier Keep, just getting them full access to the point, but not only that, access to where the players are coming from out of the hook range of Makoa, but if he steps into the line of sight, he's able to accurately deal a lot of damage to any champion. Now, I don't see why he's not shooting Bitey. He seems to be focusing on the point, but I can clearly see him seeing Bitey there. He's just, I guess, waiting and lying in wait for anyone who decides to get anywhere near there. And a wonderful grenade bounce almost takes down Bitey in the Ying, but he's able to get away, but he is almost going to secure JAKEB. This play by SuHKyle here, very going unnoticed by Eager. No one has even come near him in the last minute or two, and it's really hurting them here. That damage from range is just so strong.
And look at the Bomb King already pushing all the way forward into these very, very low HP Eager players. He will fall eventually, but he's got to kill for his troubles, and now they're going to be trying to deal with these grouped up matchpoint players. You've got the high HP champions pushing the payload. Everyone else is running around, zoning, doing the damage they need to scare Eager back, and that's exactly what's happening right now. stolzey going to be caught by Wi-Fi, but not before Z1 now falls to him.
Now Kami finally getting himself in a bit of a rhythm here. He's got a 2 streak. He's 3-2, finally positive in his KDA. He found Victor earlier on, took SuHKyle out of the fight, and then he goes and gets another. He's got a great shot on the Kusqt. Kusqt doesn't see where the damage is coming from, but now neither does Kami. He's forced to ice block Kusqt, and stolzey are way up on that. Cassie with that Vampire Hunter skin, she's going to be slaying more things than vampires here, taking down Winter Witches as well.
Wi-Fi going to be falling back, and I love what he's doing. He's just staying around the corner, waiting for someone to show their face. There it is. Him staying alive behind this corner forces MatchPoint to deal with him, and the fact that they had to deal with him let the rest of his team come on in, capture the payload, and now they're pushing back. Now, Eager, they're in control.
Now, what do you think about Eevee here? A lot of Eevees are bringing out the Teleport 4. Now, I used to only play Eevee with Teleport 2, and it seems now that Teleport 4 is clearly the favorite. Why are people finding that extra 80% distance on Blink is that important?
Because of how low HP Eevee is right now, being able to leave a fight is far more important than what you do in the fight. So if you can just at any point say, no thank you, I'm done with this fight, I'm gonna go home, then you have such a potential to be a harasser, to remove anyone in the backlines, like actually stolzey's doing right now, absolutely melting people, and there's nothing they can do about her because she's so mobile.
So mobile. I mean, not only will the blink most likely get her out of range, but not only that, combine that with the soar as well. What we're noticing is when you fall through the Eevee, she's going up in the air. A lot of the blinks, when they're offensive, go up into the air so that she's almost immediately untargetable, and she can shoot down if you're fast enough on your reflexes to get damage easily. That splash area damage that Eevee provides so well as a champion. And now it's 2-0. MatchPoint are looking convincing here, and TJ, they've had a lot of upsets today. We've had several different moments of MatchPoint looking like they have had chinks in the armor, but now they are looking prime, they're looking crisp, their armor is gleaming. I haven't been able to really see a fault in MatchPoint's play over these last few games.
I think it really comes down to Eager and MatchPoint, they play the same game. They play it the same way. It's just that MatchPoint right now are better at it. And the thing Woogly's doing, they used to be called Ardent Frost, of course they were one of the rising teams, up and coming teams, and they do such a good job with a kind of unique style of play. For North America at least, and it works very well for them, but it's just not enough to defeat MatchPoint, who are so good.
So would you say it's more of what Woogly did was more of an EU style?
I don't know. I mean, it really is still the North American style, but it is a very unique version of the North American style. They have a lot more team cohesion than typical North American teams do. There's a lot of emphasis on team fights in North American play right now. And just hurling yourself at your opponents.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's important to understand. I mean, I think they call it the Clown Fiesta for a reason, right? And of course, now we get here on the point. stolzey getting pulled by the Makoa. Nice block, however, to get out of range, and now he's at 4 health. Can you believe this? stolzey's at 4 health, and he stays getting the streak, and he stays alive. Oh my God, this Eevee's mobility. It's so good because you know what he's having.
There's your answer.
He's having to outplay. He's outplayed. This is not a champ that I think is OP right now by any means. I think you have to really outplay. It's only the best of the best. We see, you know, I think even a different level of Eevee play coming out from stolzey than we do see from Kami right now, who's admittedly a very good player, very experienced player. stolzey is just doing things that even the best players find very hard to do as an Eevee.
And right now I want to issue a formal apology to Hi-Rez Eras, because a while ago I was hanging out with Bitey and we were watching Eevees immediately post-patch just getting melted in seconds. And we were saying there's no way this champion's viable, and he's in chat and he writes, no, she's viable, just high skill ceiling. And I laughed then, I am not laughing now. I'm seeing stolzey using those teleport cards you called out, moving around so much and doing so much damage.
Well, you know,
is quite possibly the highest skill ceiling we've ever seen in Paladins.
But think about this. I mean, he played the other highest skill champ. Not necessarily that he wasn't easy to do well with as just a relatively good FPS player versus a, you know, kind of someone who's just getting into the game in Androxus. But he had one of the highest skill cap potentials in the game, and now he's on to Eevee. And Eevee again has probably one of, if not the highest skill cap in the game. Maybe saved from you know, a very aggressive style, you know, incitement for, you know, Cassie build that would be, you know, not necessarily just sitting back in the rafters and you know, shooting damage from range because she doesn't have fall off. I mean, this is clearly stolzey's thing. He takes on the challenges and he does well with them.
And it's absolutely worth talking about the pickup of Bomb King over on MatchPoint. We haven't seen too much Bomb King. He's showing up today. He's not the leader in damage, but he's absolutely serving his purpose. Let's talk briefly about JAKEB here with a Tempest ultimate, and he gets absolutely nothing done, just focused and removed.
And now doesupz doing a great job as well. I'd also say Bomb King, a pretty high skill ceiling champion as well. I mean, to really max it out. doesupz, we haven't talked about him a lot today, but he is actually a very, very good Bomb King. Very accomplished. We've seen him put a lot of strong performances, and he's not an easy character because he has to stick his bombs now. It's just very hard to compete with airborne characters. But we see there he turns around. Kami gets the first shot onto doesupz. He turns around and gets 2 onto Kami before she can respond. This is what I'm talking about. This is not easy to do, ladies and gentlemen. doesupz does it, and he does it so excellently. He is a very, very good Bomb King. And again, maybe CB32, what this thing has done has really created a lot of opportunities for the best of the best to showcase their talent almost better than they've ever been able to here on these champions.
Yeah, Bomb King, one of his key abilities, you talk about his high skill ceiling, one of his key abilities is indeed the Grumpy Bomb. That's so useful in terms of team play. You can just drop it, and it forces everybody to step back. Right now, we're 6 into overtime, though. Look at JAKEB with his Ghost Walk staying alive. This one lasts forever, but he's bought enough time for his teammates to get here. Bitey rating in the damage, and Team Eager, they're in control again.
And I'm really liking also Smidgen's play here. He's seemingly, you know, found his rhythm on the Fernando, and I know it's not something that he plays a lot in terms of the competitive scene. He might have played a lot of scrims, but when it came to actually playing in the matches that count, he's most likely, we usually see him on Eevee, which is very interesting. So now that Eevee's adjusted, that's on stolzey now. He's playing this Fernando. We saw him get a lot of deaths early on, and now, yes, he's getting deaths. He's still dying, you know, but he's almost dying less than anyone else on the team. He's got the lowest, he's tied for the lowest deaths, and he's got 5 kills. It's pretty good.
I mean, pretty good one way to put it. If you look over at Team Eager, their highest player has a 1-1 KD. That's JAKEB, right. Of course. He's got the 7th streak right now. He's the player doing so much work, but he's not being credited with it. He's got 10 assists. I would flag him as the player who's currently keeping them in the game, because the play you can do on Grok is so positionally important, and he has so much healing potential as well, and already he's throwing in the chain lightning, trying to do what he can to help his team out.
And what a barrage there coming up from SuHKyle. And we've got to keep an eye on to JAKEB, except there's no eye to be kept because he's back in base. SuHKyle doing such a good job of getting out the primary targets with a long-range barrage from Victor. Now, Victor obviously can do a ton of damage with that, but he's very, very, I would say, vulnerable during that stake because he has to channel all three. And if he doesn't, he's got to wait till that channel is done. So if somebody like Eevee comes out and tries to take him down while he's channeling and she's too close, he is going to go down without a fight. So very good timing there by SuHKyle, being able to use that barrage to its maximum efficiency. And there it is. That's the match right there. Match point. Go ahead and take it.
Well, that's important because MatchPoint are now at MatchPoint for the tournament.
Yep.
I'm sure nobody's made that joke before.
Nobody.
2 game wins. They will be continuing in dominant fashion. I believe Eager, that was the only point they've gotten all series so far off MatchPoint. And they just look in control. They look like they know what they're doing. And Eager look like they know what they're doing too. It's just losing.
Right. Unfortunately, it's the facts. They're not winning right now. They're not playing to the best of their ability. It seems like, Bitey is really trying to make this Yang work. And to his credit, he's at 50k damage. He's doing quite a bit of damage. I mean, he did more damage than doesupz. He was almost on par with Eevee in the enemy team, and he's second on his team next to Victor, who's playing Z1 Unknown, played by Z1 Unknown, who's a very strong carry champion, and player for the squad. So I wouldn't say that Ying isn't working. I would say that maybe they need something a little stronger, a little bit more consistent in terms of what it can provide on the point fights. So if you're going to switch that up again, I'm going to ask you, Ying or no Ying, Ying or Yang, what do you do? Do you keep this champion again, or you switch it up?
I would stick with Yang. I think the player you need to switch out is Kami. Because
he's not doing it.
Kami, he's a nice guy, but right now he's not carrying his weight. He's 13-13 on right now the highest DPS champion in the game. We're seeing on the other side, stolzey, his counterpart, is carrying. And he's not even breaking a 1-1 KD. It's just not working. Kami needs to go, this isn't a thing I'm doing well right now. I need to find something that works, that's not Eevee, maybe a higher HP champion. Maybe we see one of the crazier picks like Fernando jump on in here. And really control point fights in a way that Kami is failing to do so right now.
Okay, so you said you know Kami. You say you talk with Kami. He's a nice guy. I personally never chatted with him personally except through messages. What does he like to play? What would you... I mean, you said maybe a Fernando. We've seen him on Buck. What do you think is his go-to champion here that would make all the difference for him to be on?
I don't know. I don't spend enough time playing with Kami to be able to tell you what he wants to play in this situation. I can only tell you that they need to change something, and right now, it's Kami. Right.
Well, we'll have to see what happens next match. You'll be just as surprised as we are if any adjustments go on. My name's Rainday. I'm here with TJ, and we'll be casting Game 3 and potentially Match Point and Weak Point here, 7 in a row for the Match Point. We say Match Point too much. They have to change their name. I'm sorry, guys. You have to change your name from Match Point. But while we think about that, think of some good names for them.
We'll head to
Warpath. Yeah, how about
That's a good name. They should try Warpath.
You know what? That won't work. That won't work. That's semifinals at DreamHack. That's not enough to get you to the finals. And I know these guys are bent on winning. So we'll have to wait till next round, see what happens. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a bit with Game 3. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Game 3 of the North American Finals. My name is Rainday. Joining me today is TJ, and he's going to be taking us through the action alongside myself in this Game 3 broadcast of a very good set between Match Point, the winners of 6 weeks in a row, trying to make it 7, and Eager, the kids who are trying to make a name for themselves in this Paladins professional scene. So we got Z1 Unknown on the Victor for the side of Eager. Wi-Fi will be switching it up to the Drogos. Kami will now no longer be playing Eevee, and he will be on the Bomb King. We'll see what he's running in a second. JAKEB on the Grok, and Bitey now taking control of the Eevee, saying, hey, let me play this one. TJ, what are we running on the side of Match Point?
stolzey on Eevee, Kusqt still on Cassie. Smidgen picking up Mykoa, doesupz running away with that Bomb King, and SuHKyle staying on Victor already. There's an Eevee in the back lines of Eager, and Wi-Fi's trying to deal with them, but it's under fire from multiple sides.
And I love the way that not only do SuHKyle and Kusqt be picking up the kills on the Wi-Fi and Kami, but not only does Eevee go in the backline, but so does Bomb King. I love playing Bomb King as an aggressive flank type champion. I know he can sit back and do damage from range, but I just feel that that's been mitigated now that his shields, that his damage does not really, matter from range unless he's sticking them onto a target. Of course, if you don't run a big shield comp, he's not as effective. So you got to get up in there. You got to stick your champs, and if he does that, I love the way he's playing here. Unlike kind of Kami, who's kind of sitting in the back line right now, as of now, trying to get himself back into the action.
Well, Kami's already falling to SuHKyle. SuHKyle going huge with 2 quick kills. Look at Bitey chained in on this side. He's going to fall to Smidgen. And Smidgen's going to fall in turn after Bitey dies. You got that little after-death moment. We're playing Battlefield.
That little after death moment, right? And so one of the interesting things is Bomb King had a couple of adjustments to his deck. Now, doesupz's been a big fan of Bomb Shelter and Flare. He loves sticky bombs doing reduced self-damage, and he loves Flare for his competitive vision for his teammates, just being able to call out. I'm sure the comms from MatchPoint allow him a lot of, the ability to just chat about things. But to me, I don't really like Bomb Shelter on Bomb King. I don't know if you played a lot of Bomb King, TJ. I find there are a couple of other cards that are more effective, but doesupz, just in terms of his mechanical skill, is such an effective Bomb King, it almost doesn't matter. But would you pick up any different card besides Bomb Shelter, or would you keep that deck the same?
Well, I think Bomb Shelter says something about what a good Bomb King he is. He's such a good Bomb King that he's taking fights against EVs and very, very aggressive champions at close range, and he's hitting those bombs, but the enemy champions are so close, he needs to worry about that self-damage.
Right.
So I think it is all about your playstyle. I think there's a very good reason for him to pick up Bomb Shelter. It's not apparent at the lower level of play that plebs like you and me play at.
You know what? I think, TJ, I honestly think if I was actually going to get in these matches, I would get destroyed. No, but I hope to think that if I really tried, I could be an all-right player in the league. But of course, these are just rain day dreams, guys. A guy's got a dream. He watches these pro players make all these sick plays, and he's like, man, I can do that one day. But of course, I'm here on the mic instead of in the game. And, doesupz seems to be wreaking havoc on his own. He's going, let's look at his stat line, 2 and 3, but he's been very effective. He's been doing a lot and causing a lot of ruckus and allowing MatchPoint again to take the first point in this objective and be able to push this payload card, but they're having a tough time getting through. Now, stolzey in the back line, TJ, is that the only thing that's going to help, stolzey and doesupz just peel off of the boys of Eager from staying away from this payload push, or is there somebody else who needs to kind of step up to relieve this pressure?
I mean, I think your question's been answered already. You had stolzey jump into the backline, and then you had the rest of Eager. They push forward as a unit. They did the thing that MatchPoint do so well. Sorry, not Eager, MatchPoint. They go in, they take a fight as a unit, and everyone just takes care of everybody else. So whenever someone's ulting, they have the target calling, they know exactly who they're all shooting at, and they just obliterate the Tempest and anyone else who tries to pose a threat.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's looking like MatchPoint are really cleaning things up. I mean, it seems like stolzey's just getting better and better with Eevee, and this is scary, man, for all competitive players. I mean, looking at how good stolzey's Eevee is, I mean, this is becoming the new, exciting champion to watch. I mean, Androxus, he was exciting. He was amazing, but, I mean, the fact that, Eevee's able to do so much and be so mobile, get away with such small health pools is just fantastic. As the defense fails for Eager and MatchPoint take a 2-0 lead, this is looking like a very quick game so far. This could be MatchPoint taking the whole thing after this.
Yeah, I want, MatchPoint obviously winning. I'd like chat to go ahead and shed a Bible thump for Kami. He popped his King Bomb ultimate, he popped all the way in, he was in the middle of so many players, he was going to have this big moment. And then he just got focused down and removed.
Yeah.
He had a great idea, and you can just see, once again, that's the target calling I'm talking about. MatchPoint, they're so good at going, this is who we're focusing. 3 players suddenly dealing damage onto 1 player who's not ready for it. They will just vanish in a puff of smoke. It's like pouring water on the Wicked Witch.
Oh, pouring water on the Wicked Witch. Well, the Wicked Witch, you think it's Eevee, but in Eager's terms, it's actually Kusqt on the Cassie, who's just being so dominant right now. He is a 13-2 carry for the side of MatchPoint, and he is even outshining stolzey here. Even though stolzey's got the fun, tricky plays, Kus is just bringing down the damage, and it is fantastic to watch and see. And taking a look at his build here, we see picking up the Quiver 2 instead of the Quiver 4 now, electing to pick, the one interesting card for me is Drain Life. You know, this is not a card we saw a lot Cassie's pick up lately, but the fact that she's got some adjustments, no more Fatal Sign, which means that Ultimate is not getting the extra damage for teammates for that extended period of time. Drain Life seems to be, I don't know, an interesting pick. If he can hit a couple of members with that blast shot, you know, healing up for, 225, that's not too bad.
Yeah, and of course, it's a very interesting time to pick up Cassie because of how useful that target calling is. Once again, we're going back to how they take points on MatchPoint. You want a Cassie who can stay alive with the Drain Life, and then you can go, alright, we're focusing Wi-Fi. He's ulting right now and going in. Kusqt with a last-second dodge. He's bullfighting over there on the point.
And it's beautiful too. He's not dressed like it, but he's definitely doing the actions that are required to be dodging the damaging one-punch KO there coming out from the Dragon. But what a play there by doesupz, just out bomb-kinging Kami himself, who switched up. I mean, doesupz is a hard guy to try and, contest on his Bomb King, and it just shows there. He's setting traps for any player coming out of this very likable tunnel for people trying to defend, and he's just doing so much damage. I mean, his presence of mind, his ability on this champion is literally masterful at this point. And he goes and gets the kill on the JAKEB. Grok, a huge target, and with the air blast and the accelerant card, able to stay up in the air and just move around so freely. He's such a hard target to take down.
Yeah, and the only person who can really focus him would be a Victor. Victor has very good survivability against the Bomb King because he can run around, because he can drop those bombs very quickly. But Bomb King, he's sailing through the air. doesupz, he's never touching the ground. He's on a rampage with 5 kills and he's not stopping anytime soon.
It is unbelievable how well MatchPoint have done this, and Eager give up. They don't even come back. There's not enough of a chance for them to get back and contest the payload, and that's going to wrap it up for week 7 of the summer circuit. Give it up to MatchPoint for the victory, and taking 7 weeks in a row, an unprecedented feat, never losing a set still, even though they have lost several games today. It was a tricky start, TJ, and they seem to have recovered and found their stride. No, not found their stride, started sprinting. This was Usain Bolt speed ahead of the competition here. Eager still seeming like they've got a lot to learn in terms of taking down the Kings.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Eager develop. I'd like to see them put through that final push, grab the final week, if for nothing other than pride.
Right.
Because we've seen Eager, they've solidly been that second place team. I don't have the standings in front of me, but I think they're guaranteed second place in North America, as MatchPoint is guaranteed first place. Because that's just been the standings. Every single week you have MatchPoint in first. Like you said, they've never lost a series. Please put a 1 in that losses column for us. Someone, maybe the Blue Bleak, they're climbing on up. We just need someone to put an end to them.
Well, you know what I'm really, to me, it's kind of like the Golden State Warriors in a way, you know? They're clearly just such a good team. They take every single game so seriously, and they come back. They make these incredible comebacks, but they're on this nasty streak. And you know, it's got to come to an end at some point. Even, we saw in some of the other competitive games, the fact that teams can be on a 57-0 streak, and the fact that they could just drop at the fatal moment. MatchPoint has to keep themselves ready to play, because they were very close with Team Woogly earlier on to dropping that set and going down 2-0 after losing the first game, and nobody is invincible. They have to keep bringing it every week. Next week will be the same thing. CB33 most likely won't be in, so they'll have another week to get used to this and be able to, all teams to be able to really find out which team works. I doubt we'll see a lot of team bringing out the shield comps, because it's easily countered here. But let's talk about the future of Paladins, DJ. We've had a couple things spoiled today. CB33 is going to be bringing a lot of things. New maps, great stuff for the community, but also, how do you feel about champion selecting in competitive? Being able to select a champion, see somebody else select on the enemy team, and being able to now counterpick a squad. How do you feel about that? What do you think that will do for the competitive scene?
In the short term, I think that's going to completely revolutionize what we see in team comps, because people are going to try and pick what we have as team comps now, and people are going to pick the hard counter to that team comp mid-picking phase. So I think we're going to see a lot of really weird mixed team comps in the near future. Further down the road, I'm really looking forward to seeing what that does, because we will have teams actually going, you picked this, we're going to pick this champion who's a hard counter to your Drogos, to your Eevee. And I love that sort of idea, and I think it really will add a whole nother tactical level to the game in a way that we haven't seen up to this point.
Well, you know what I think is going to be so interesting, too, is that we were just remarking on this the other day. I was chatting with a couple people who were just talking games, and Dota 2 has been having a ton of incredible tournaments coming up. And we've also talked about Smite. Somebody made a Reddit post that was very interesting to one of my friends, and he brought it up, and he said, Smite, this guy felt like Smite's gods were just all around so good that there was no really hard counters. Like, they were all kind of able to do everything. You talk about Pokemon Go, and it's got Frost, fire beats.
I never talk about Pokemon
ice.
Go.
Well, I am. So the point I'm making, it's a dangerous, well to fall into, right? You almost can't get out once you go too deep in. But what I'm saying is, fire beats ice, grass beats a certain type. And the fact is, like, sometimes, having these all-around characters can make for more of a bland competitive scene. But, will this kind of idea of picking and having counter picks, maybe urge the developers to start really designing champions with that in mind? Will they start looking at, okay, this is going to be a great champion to counter this, or this is going to be a great champion to counter this, and maybe they won't be so all around, but they'll be great if somebody picks them with the right lineup, and that will, then create a lot of more interesting and impactful decisions that competitive teams make. I'd be interested to see if they follow suit with that type of thinking.
I mean, I think right now we have a setup where certain team comps can beat other certain team comps, and if you take that to another level and you go, this player is really good against this player, I think that's a very interesting way to go about balancing games. I also really love the idea of what we have right now, where you're kind of putting together a puzzle, and if a Rubik's Cube, if you will, and if you can get one face with all the colors of the same side, then you have a great unified team. It's like having the proper mix of fire, water, air, whatever. There are too many types of Pokemon.
Right.
And do you agree with me then? But
there are too many? Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, there's like 8. It's unbelievable. Dark type. What even does that mean?
I know. Psychic, right? What the heck?
But it's an interesting idea. Instead of just having hard counters for a champion, I would love to see kind of synergy. You build your team based on what's positive for you, and then the whole time you're guessing at what the other team is doing and how you can counter their whole team lineup.
Right.
That's, to me, the most interesting way. I think that's where we're at right now. We just don't have the picking phase to enforce that, so it's kind of blind rock, paper, scissors.
Right.
But I would love to see, now that we have a picking phase coming up, the two teams going head-to-head, countering each other. You talked about MatchPoint. Don't stumble now. Paladins, we're almost done with Paladins Summer Circuit. We're rapidly approaching what's coming next, and I definitely can't wait to see where we go as a competitive scene. Now is not the time to slip up, start taking easy games. Now's the time to crack down and keep your lead.
Absolutely. And it's interesting where this game will develop. I think it's a question that remains to be answered. The verdict is out, but I think it depends on the community. A lot of you still watching in Twitch chat and, watching from home, or whether you're watching on a computer or mobile, realize that you all are in a very interesting and really amazing and privileged opportunity to be interacting with, a company like Hi-Rez. I remember before I even worked here, I was just so excited about the fact that, I could say something and it could actually get in game because that feedback was so appreciated by the community, or it represented the thoughts that so many people had, that, Hi-Rez really took it and said, we want to make a game that our community loves and put it into the game. And so I think whether we see healers or whether we see, more support-oriented champions, or whether champions that are great at countering shields, or champions that are great at, only shielding and supporting and being, more of a defensive type champion rather than having a lot of offensive skills. All these things will be, I think, based on what the community wants. And of course, ultimately what makes the best game. But I'm really excited to see the direction of it. And we've got a lot coming for you. I can tell we'll be deciding actually kind of what the next stages of that are next week here at the office. So stay tuned for all that stuff as well. And thank you, TJ, for being a part of the cast today. We had TJ come on, and Hindu Man, F. Dot as well. I did some solo casting. We had Tattle earlier on in the day. So it's been a wild ride, a circus for all of you. There's a real clown fiesta, but it was a good one. And thank you all for tuning in today as well. Kenneth and Dave, we always appreciate you guys from Paladins World doing everything you do to keep these circuits up. So everyone, please give them some love and follow them on Twitter, their social medias and everything. TJ, thank you again for joining me for the finals, man. Anything you want to say before we kind of tune things out for the day?
I mean, Paladins really is just beginning as a competitive game, and I cannot wait to see how we continue and what Hi-Rez does with such a cool competitive title with the potential that Paladins does have.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'm excited as well. My name has been Rain Day. You can check me out. We'll link up my social medias as well. And some of the other casters that are usually on here, Vox and Pretty Hair. Vox obviously wasn't around for today, but he is going to be able to be back, I believe, next week. So we should be able to see him joining us. And of course, Gamescom was happening. That's why we had a lot of people out. But this upcoming Wednesday, you should be able to see Overtime. And we should be back at it again, hopefully with some discussion about CB33. So if you're interested in catching up on or hearing some of the newest things we've heard, going over the chat spoils from Hi-Rez Joe today and Hi-Rez Eras yesterday about things upcoming and stuff we learned over the week, please join us on Overtime. That is, I believe, going to be Wednesday at about 3 p.m., maybe 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I really do thank you guys all for being a part of it. Thank you, Twitch chat. Again, thank you, Paladins World. Thank you, Paladins Game. Thank you, Hi-Rez. And we'll see you guys next week.